2, 1.
Meet the Browning M2HB, or Maduce, as it's sometimes colloquially known. The HB stands for heavy barrel. Well, because it has a heavy barrel. M2 has been in standard US military service longer than any other firearm still in service. Although originally developed in 1918 and technically first adopted by the US military in 1922, these guns are still in ubiquitous, widespread service today. This is Military Mechanics, and today we will look at the M2 Browning. This amazing gun really is testament to John Browning's genius in firearms design. Internally, this gun is almost a copy of the Browning .30 caliber. The original guns that Browning built as .50 caliber guns were water-cooled, just like the original .30 caliber guns. The water-cooled version was designated the M1921 .50 caliber machine gun. The problem was, most of the other service branches wanted a different sort of tweaked version of this gun. The infantry found it to be way too heavy. They also found that it was troublesome to hold on target, since there's a lot of recoil generated by the gun, especially if you don't have a really good tripod design. The cavalry had problems with its weight as well. How do you move this thing around on horseback? The US Air Service initially was interested in this for mounting on aircraft. But early aircraft were frankly a bit too fragile to deal with the recoil and the muzzle blast from this gun. Dr. Samuel Green, who was a Springfield engineer assigned to Colt, made a couple of really important changes and developments to the gun. One of them is the iconic charging handle. The original M1921 just had a charging handle sticking straight out the side. So, the developers gave it the cammed charging handle, which was a significant improvement. Dr. Green came up with a design for the internal components that allows the charging handle to be easily changed between left and right-hand feed without needing much in the way of replacement parts. By 1933, the gun was redesignated as the Browning M2. When this was first developed for World War I, it was intended to be an anti-tank gun and also an anti-aircraft gun. However, by World War II, it was not really an effective anti-tank gun anymore. But also in World War II, it became an ideal aircraft armament. Not anti-aircraft, but in the aircraft. The US had fighters with 6 or 8 .50 caliber M2s mounted on their wings as primary armament. And that allowed what was by that point an obsolete anti-tank weapon to stay in service. By the time we get to the 1950s, the .50 caliber became obsolete as an aircraft weapon since it is not powerful enough. So it kind of transitioned into being a general-purpose vehicular-mounted gun. And that's where we still see it in service today. It is a tremendously long-serving, venerable, and incredibly effective firearm. The M2 has been used by the United States in almost all its conflicts since its production. The machine gun is almost 61.42 inches in length and weighs 84 pounds alone, and 128 pounds with its tripod. The bore has a diameter of 0.50 inches, obviously. The M2 Browning has an effective firing range of 1,800 meters and a maximum range of 6,800 meters. The fired bullet has a muzzle velocity of 809 miles per second. The M2HB variant, manufactured by General Dynamics, has a cyclic rate of 450 to 600 rounds per minute. Faster variants include the AN-M3 for use in aircraft, having a rate of fire around 1,200 rounds per minute. One belt of the M2HB comes with 100 rounds. If you were to take a 2-meter hole within a bunker using an M2 Browning, you would need 300 rounds. That's $1,500 at $5 per round. A lot of the US military inventories are being upgraded to the M2A1. Due to the long procedure for changing the barrel, an improved system was developed called QCB, or Quick Change Barrel. A lightweight version, weighing 24 pounds less, a mere 60 pounds, was also developed. Since these guns don't really tend to wear out to the point that they can't just be repaired and put back in service, it's not cost-effective to replace them with anything brand new. So, 100 years after its adoption by the US military, Ma Deuce is still very much alive and kicking.